taking my screen and now getting into the new thing called as project resource management. If you look at the master chart, because it's always good to check the master chart. So here is the master chart. All the things what we have knocked down are done. And now we are entering into this also. So this part is done. Now we are entering into this is resource. Plan resource management, all about the planning the resources. It's a strategy, but very important thing they use here. Did I start recording?
Yes, it's
Yes, I
yes.
did. Okay. Now coming back to, I was saying that, plan resource management, apart from the thing, they say that you need to have your project's own organization structure. Now this very small project, this might sound little funny to have a project's organization structure. What does it mean that, who are directly going to report into you, what they are going to do in project management task? That type of definition and all that thing, that is called as project organization structure, which they have explained here. Estimate activity resources will be jumping through these slides because it is nothing else but extension of duration, cost, and this. So that's how it is there, that those four estimation methods, starting with top down, bottom up, and so on and so forth. All that thing is, is as usual there, which is there. So estimation will do fairly quickly. Then comes acquire resources. Once you go into the execution, first thing you need to acquire. Here you have estimated the resources, and then you would be going ahead and raising the requisition. So you will be raising the requisition, and once you raise that requisition in the planning, you will start getting those people. That's called as acquire. Acquisition might include the people directly on your role, which means on the company's role. Sometimes they could be the contractors, sometimes they could be full-time, part-time. All that acquisitions need to be done there. And once it is done, you'll have to develop the team. Once these people come onto the board, these people will be experienced. Obviously, they are qualified to do that project, but apart from that, they need to be given some induction training. Some relevant information about your project may not be with them, and to provide that, you have to develop team, basically arranging multiple trainings. And once you arrange the training, PMI or any other standard, they will always say that if I give a training to someone, I need to evaluate whether the training was effective. Okay. So basically, you need to go ahead and evaluate whether, so there has to be an assessment. Basically, as a part of developed team, you need to assess whether they have learned it and have they understood it and so on. And once this is done, manage team. Manage team is, assigning them the work, from this WBS. You'll have to assign it to appropriate team member. He does it. He should comes back, takes it back, and so on. That's called as managed team. So when you are managing the team, obviously, because multiple people coming from different geographies, locations, cultures, specialization, multiple things, there are going to be inevitable some conflicts, because multiple people are working together. Conflicts are essential, or it is inevitable. So those conflicts, how do you resolve, is also explained. Some sound there. Someone at some end. I will just mute all for the safety. Yes, let me go back and open that master chart, because somewhere I have lost that. Yes, here is the master chart. Let me keep this on while we are seeing this. So coming back to, that I was saying, management, there are conflicts management and all that techniques will be, seeing there. Control is like all other control process, taking the work performance data, taking the project plan, comparing plan versus actual, doing the variance analysis, and creating work performance information and CR. So that's work performance information goes to monitor and control project. CRs are given to the perform integrated change control. So this is the structure or overview of it, but overview is, as in English they say, the devil is in the details. So we need to go detail. Identify, acquire, and manage the resources, which is one of the objective of resource management. Very important for project manager to ensure that they are available when they are required, where they are required, enough in numbers. So resources not available on time would create a problem. They are available, but they are not available. The place where they are required would be a problem. So plan all that thing. You need to plan then you need to acquire, and then you need to control. Doing all that thing, these are the processes and what I have already explained it, on that chart. Coming back to concepts, all individuals assigned to the role and responsibility, everyone who is there, you need to very clearly specify what is his role, what he is going to do in this particular project, to whom he is going to work, whom he is going to report, all that thing is, there. While there is a role assigned to each of the member as a team member, they might be for executor, there could be a developer, there is a tester. These people are predominantly going to do that, but at the same time, ensure that, these people participate in the planning as well as decision making. That word called as a servant leader, if you recollect in the agile, we spoke about this word called as a servant leader. And this servant leader style of working says that not that only they will work as you say, but they should participate in planning and decision making along with you, so that it's very effective. Your plans are also having a buy-in down the line. If there are issues, they are able to rectify it as well. So doing all that thing is essential. You need to invest time in acquiring, managing, motivating, and empowering the team members. Remember, just thinking that I will raise the requisition, people will join. I will explain them what work to be done, and then I will be out of it to do all my project management. Not going to be there. You need to invest the time in managing, then acquiring. You need to, just by raising the requisition, you don't get the best resources. For you to get the best resources, you need to make necessarily, in absence of any very heavy word, I'm saying you need to be friendly with the resource department. Is that right, friends? You need to be friendly with the resource department.
Yes.
Yes.
And expecting that, कि मैं बस रिक्विजिशन दे दूंगा और मेरे को लोग मिलेंगे is incorrect. Correct, Abhishek?
Yes. Yes. It's absolutely correct.
Then comes managing them, just मेल पे दे दिया तू ये काम कर, ऐसा नहीं चलता. It is not. You need to manage, you need to work with them, motivate them. So all those things, that needs an investment here. I mean, if you think that it's a technical, it's a procedural job of assigning it to them, ऐसा नहीं होता है. Managing people needs an investment, and that investment pays off. I mean, it's not that that investment is bad. It pays off, but you need to do it. Sometimes people, project manager, particularly the people who are coming extremely from the technical background, underestimate this investment. They don't think that, they need to, but it is important. You need to be manager as well as leader. Now, what they have done, they have explained these two words separately. One is manager, is the person. Now, here is the definition. Manager, they say he is the person who gets the thing done, who gets the tasks or things, let's say, things done. This is the definition of manager. While leader as a term, what they say is the one who develop, motivate the people and gets thing done. Gets thing done. This is the difference as per PMI. Now, what's the difference? If you look at it, this guy is concentrating on the task. काम हो रहा है बस खत्म. Whether he is very happy, whether he is getting developed, motivated, I don't care. This task should get. Leader will actually concentrate developing and motivating the people, and then gets the things done. So leader will ensure that it is got it done. What they are trying to say, PMI says that you as a PM, when it comes to the project manager, you need to be a leader as well as manager. By the way, he did you? I mean, so can someone tell me saying that what will be the, see, if leader gets the thing done, and in addition to that develop and motivate the team, he is anyway a better deal, better version of manager. Then why are we saying that he should also be a manager? Could there be any limitation of this style of working over the manager way of working? PMI very clearly says you need to be both. Why? Why leader does everything, he gets the thing, why he should also be a manager? Can you think, Divya, Kiran?
Sir, because manager manages the things tactfully. However, the leaders develops and get the things done also.
हाँ, so फिर
Uh,
leader is more encompassing, isn't it, Ritesh?
yeah, always leader is higher than the manager.
Ah, that is correct. That I have no doubt because he gets the things done. But can you think, Ritesh, of any situation in which leader, manager might go ahead and, so time of the need will be, Ritesh be a manager rather than a leader. Would there be a situation? Yes, Sanjeev, you are saying something?
Yes, the manager means sometimes the leader, sometimes some authority kind of things is required. For example, some punishment has to be given, or some force measure has to take care. Some like salary cut, expelling from the project, or these kind of things will more be easy if
But
somebody has managed
Sanjeev is going,
on the point of.
fairly close there. Kiran?
Sir, because manager must be the good servant leader, right?
नहीं, leader is
Is that
always a good servant leader. Manager करके लेता है यार कैसे भी. Not necessarily. In fact, if manager becomes servant leader, Kiran वो तो leader ही बन जाएगा. वो फिर, he will not remain there. See, Ritesh, as Sanjeev was also saying, Divya, yeah, you had some view.
Uh, sir, I have an example. Like when I was working with my previous company, so there was a shortage of resources for a particular day.
Hmm.
So at that point of time, I called a person who was on week off,
Hmm.
and I just ordered her to come to
हाँ,
office, and I'll provide another leave for that. Yeah, she was agreed to come, but when she came, um, I provided a week off, as well as like she was ready to come. So I also given
thing there. Okay.
some additional offs to her, so that she can compensate and it can be rewarded to her, and should be an example with the other team members as well.
So was that you are saying that behavior what you have shown was more like a manager? Is that what you are saying?
When I ordered her that you have to come,
That part was there.
yeah,
See,
that
you are
part.
all very coming close. Sanjeev, Divya, everyone is coming with. Ritesh?
So, sir, a manager actually deals with the goals and targets. However, the leaders are deals with the visions and the what do you
Ah,
call that? Maybe terms I forget. It is on my tongues.
correct.
Long term vision, or you can say the long term goals. However,
Exactly.
the targets
The
and the
difference
goals
there
are.
is that certain situation, as Ritesh is saying, certain situations are there where that task and completing it on time, action point tracking की जरूरत है. In this situation, sometimes leader find a limitation because leaders actually always take the route through the people. And this route is longer. This route is not that short. That morning when Divya went, the first thing was required to go ahead and say कि तू आना है तुझे अभी. I mean, now I don't have a time to motivate you saying that कि आके there तू company का क्या अच्छा करेगी. That becomes later. That point on time there was a need to be a manager. So are you getting certain things are good to be done with the manager style? Certain things are good with largely leadership is a good style of doing it, but there are a lot of situation in the project you all need to be a good manager. Are you so you got the difference here, friends?
Yes.
Yes,
You
and
can
that's
take
what.
this your slides, or this initial concept we can see from that Akshay Kumar's famous movie, Mars Mission, that
Ah,
explains well, where the Akshay Kumar's was looks like a leader, however the Vidya Balan was as a
it's a manager.
project manager, and
Again,
she
it's
was
a
doing
OES
that all
sentence.
at well. Yeah.
It says PM should be a manager as well as leader. Now ये जो है ना रितेश, this is another way of doing it in the thing is that आपका ना दो में से रितेश you will have one style. See,
Hmm.
predominantly one person possessing both is a good dream to have. In real life ऐसे ही होता है. वो तू जो बोला ना जैसा विद्या बालन and
Mhm.
all that thing.
Yes.
If your natural style is like a leader, catch hold of a subordinate who acts like a manager.
Yes.
And if your own style is like a manager, catch hold of someone who is a leader. So वो दो मिलके it will go ahead and fulfill your dream. But both are required. What I'm trying to say, don't say that if I'm if I'm using leadership style of working for the project, I don't need a manager. You need it, and that's what they are trying to say. Physical resource should be, available when they are required. Having so many people also, physical resource or even people. If they are excess also, it's a bad, because it will increase the cost. So some of these concepts there. Trends and emerging practices, they are saying that that in resource management, it is coming up as command and control is not no more way of doing things. It is about participative way, servant leader like thing. Command and control is a word which they have came up from that old army way of working, where boss is the boss will give the order, everyone else will obey it without even questioning why he is giving that order. Boss ने बोला वो करना है आपको. That's called as a command and control, which they say that was the traditional way of working, few years back, which is no more there nowadays. You need to do a collaborative thing. It is because of the knowledge worker. Most of you people are working with the knowledge worker who themselves are, in that sense, Sanjeev, I'm sure you would be knowing this blue collared versus white collared people, isn't it? I mean, everyone know this term, blue collared and white collared.
Black collar versus
Yeah, black you call
white.
it. Hmm.
Yeah.
Blue we call it as
Blue means
blue.
worker,
Huh?
and white means the office.
White is
Man,
basically knowledge workers. These are knowledge workers, and these are very often skill workers. Basically, what I am trying to say is that with these more white collar people or knowledge workers, you need to be doing a participative way. Not don't agree to everything what PMI says, but कुछ चीज याद रखो और छोड़ दो. I had some very funny observations here. There are so many people in today's day who themselves demonstrate themselves to be very participative, but they are not. They will call the boss by the first name, but that boss cannot be questioned for anything. While quite a good old days, there were some people who were very participative. So relating with old and new is not right, but anyway, this is certainly right. Collaborative way is better than command and control. There is something called as JIT manufacturing. JIT is a short form of something called as just in time. Just in time. They say that the resources should be or made available just the time when they are required. If you bring them on board before time, you would be bearing their cost, because till the time they are on the bench, till the time you are not utilizing them, the cost will keep on getting incurred there. What are you wasting that? Another thing is that your requirement clarity, your exact timeline clarity and all that thing will be coming when you are closer to that. If you keep on recruiting the people ahead of the time, predicting, looking at the projection, you might end up getting the people who don't have. So for example, 4 months down the line, I need some Java resources. So if that's what is my prediction, and if I go ahead and recruit them ahead of time, or if I give the requirement, start working so that I take them on board little ahead, good advantage, because last minute there is no rush, you have done the recruitment. But now what could happen is that the moment development starts, you might realize that when the Java people are there, they should be good in Spring and Hibernate. I'm just taking some name. This could be wrong. So Spring and Hibernate. This is more specialization within Java. Now, this clarity 4 months back you may not have. So the recruitment, the requirement, the interviews, everything you may not have considered this. If you are actually going to do it just in time, you would have got an advantage. Does it mean that you should always do just in time? I am not saying that. If it is a higher lead time, you will have to start it ahead. But wherever possible, do it just in time is what they are trying to say. The JIT as a word has came from the manufacturing. Well, these days, if if there is a car manufacturer, they don't go ahead and buy and procure the raw material for whatever next 2 months, 3 months. The trucks actually walk or rolls into the factory every morning. Every morning, only the material required to be assembling those many cars day. So in a day, if they are going to assemble 40 cars, the 40 engines, 80 mirrors, 40 seats, everything in a set of 40 will come. They will go ahead. They don't keep it in store. It is directly unloaded onto the assembly line, where those will get assembled. By evening, that become the car. And next morning, raw material will come in the next morning. That's how it happens. That's the JIT manufacturing. The cost reduces here because you are not stocking anything. Another thing, you will be selling this car, and the money which will come to you, you will pay it to the vendor. So you don't invest the money there. Storage of
sir,
the material, storage
yes,
of material is also not your headache, because you don't store too much of a material. Downloading, unloading. If you are storing it, you'll have to unload in the store. After 1 month, when it is required, you will again shift, because this material cannot go just by the manual thing. It needs machinery, trains, and all that thing. So a lot of cost gets saved in JIT. That's what they are, and that's where they are switching. The reason for which it is included in project manager, they said whatever are the tasks which you can do at that last minute, do it. It is always good. For example, rather than in the productive life cycle, freezing the requirement for whole of the, 8 months of project in the beginning, versus that when you go to agile, you take sprint backlog, which means one iteration backlog, you take it only for that 20 days. And what are you going to do on the 21st day? That you said, I will decide at the end of the sprint, not now. It is equivalent of JIT. Yes, Kiran, you are saying something.
Sir. Actually, just in time and is cost also for the costing of the project. If there is a case that the situation that after 2 months or 3 months after, the cost of resources is going to be increased by 20 or 30% something.
Correct.
So in that case, you are needing that resource after 3 months, okay?
Correct.
And because of cost only, if you purchase it before the 3 months. So
Correct.
what PMI says in this case? Because just in time means the concept is that when you need, you should involve these
Should involve.
resources, right?
Correct.
But
See,
in this case, what PMI says?
See, whenever, when they are saying JIT is one of the method of doing things there, they are nowhere saying that, there is something called as another tool which you have already seen, Kiran, so many times. It is called as cost benefit analysis. In this situation, while doing this, you will have to do something called as a cost benefit analysis. You will have some advantage of buying in after 3 months, but there is a cost. On the other hand, there would be a cost of buying them. Now you need to do this analysis. So as you are saying that when we are saying JIT is a thing, they are not saying that every time you must do only JIT way of working. In certain situation, it is good to go ahead and stock it. For example, if it is a cement rate, if it is you are in the month of April, your project is this material I need somewhere in the month of May, and you are currently in March, and you are very sure that in April the taxes are going to increase. You might as well decide to buy it. Now, the Kiran, obviously, the moment you buy it, obviously you will have to make an arrangement. For example, if it is a cement, Kiran, you will need storage arrangement for that. Cement cannot be,
Yes,
kept
yes,
onto the
yes,
open thing.
yes.
तो वो सब के लिए तू cost benefit कर ले. If you believe that it is useful, please go ahead there. There is a third option: is go ahead and do a contract with them. Go ahead and do the contract, do the upfront payment, and say that मैं तेरे को दूंगा material, you send it only in the month of May. I mean, all those cost benefit, you'll have to do it. So, when we are saying JIT, it does not mean that the stocking something is wrong as well. Correct, Kiran?
Okay, got
Now,
it, got it.
practical implementation, Kiran, आपको मालूम है कि नहीं मालूम है, but I'm sure Aniruddha and Sanjeev would be knowing. What they do is that when I'm saying this JIT as well, now I gave you this example of the car का 40-40 का set. ऐसा नहीं करते हो. They have something called as the ABC analysis. ABC analysis is, the total car, if you look at it, 80% of the total car's cost will be only with 3-4 components. उसका engine, chassis वगैरह पकड़ के. B is another 15%. And C is 5%. What they do for C, they will stock it for 3-4 months. Every day एक bolt अगर नहीं है तो car manufacturing रुक जाएगा, किरण. They can't afford to do that. So bolts
Yes.
they will buy for the whole year and keep it there. But seats and all that thing, if it is in B category, they will go ahead and keep it maybe for a week. And A category will come on the daily morning. Now, so JIT, when we are saying, it's only an extreme example saying that everything will come in the morning. It doesn't happen. They don't do it, obviously, they don't do it. Same thing you'll have to do it about the IT projects as well. Does that make sense?
Yes, IT
Yeah,
project also same thing.
Yeah. Aniruddha?
Yeah, I think you had given one example of manufacturing when we were discussing about the lean just in time. That is, the materials were brought directly from a market to the shaft.
Correct.
So that was, I think, best example of just in time as well.
Correct. That's how they typically used to do it. But ये ना ABC करना पड़ता है अनिरुद्ध उसमें. If you try to do it for the C type of material, every day hold up हो जाएगा आपका. I mean, I don't know if you remember this word. Production hold up is a crime. No.
Yeah.
तो
This
एक
is
बोल्ट नहीं
the
है तो कार नहीं बनेगा तो प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगी रे किरण। तो sorry, Aniruddha, correct?
Yeah.
So that type of thing they do it. Kaizen is basically doing an improvement on the ground. People sitting on the ground, quality circles and all that thing. Those type of improvement are called as Kaizen. Basically, they are not trying to come up with they don't go ahead and set up a expert task force and come up with saying that what can we improve in the model. The team will sit together and say that I think if there is one hole here in that particular front bumper, it will be easy to assemble it. तो कर दो उतना एक छोटा छोटा चीज एंड डू दैट डोंट ट्राई टू come up with a master plan of the improvement. Total productive maintenance, basically a concept which was earlier called as a mega block. Earlier days, there used to be a mega block. The whole for the maintenance, the factory will be, in the month of Diwali, for on the month where there is Diwali, 15 days, the whole factory will be off. And they used to say that only maintenance guys will come, they will do the complete maintenance for the whole year. If something is down, some workaround will be done. But major overhaul, some new upgrades and everything is to be done, will be done in that mega block. Now, what they are saying, this is gone. This style is gone. This is not going to work. So what they do, total productive maintenance, they actually do work center by work center maintenance. आज की शिफ्ट में एक मशीन बंद रखेगा. I will go ahead and do everything about it. So there is nothing called as a downtime. नाम का टाइम ही नहीं है. There is no earmarked downtime. It is done along with the thing, and that's what is called as TPM. Theory
sir.
of yes,
The
Ritesh.
TPM. Then nowadays it is called as total power shutdown. It is like that
No,
something.
no, it is opposite of total power shutdown, Ritesh. It is
Okay.
doing it only on the fly. Whatever
Okay.
is required, उतना ही करो. Basically, see, the total power down में क्या होता है? It becomes difficult because everything need to be stopped. So much of a planning there. Ritesh, I was part of it. When I entered into the industry.
Mhm.
वो टिपिकली अक्टूबर में आता था. अक्टूबर और
अभी
दिवाली.
दिसंबर में करते हैं ना सर वो टोटल पावर डाउन इन दिसंबर
हाँ.
ड्यूरिंग द क्रिसमस इट स्टार्टेड अराउंड
Now that
15.
is typically a very western way of working.
या
इंडिया में नहीं. तो रितेश उसमें प्रॉब्लम क्या, आई मीन व्हाट वी यूज्ड टू डू, वी यूज्ड टू ओवर प्रोड्यूस इन द मंथ ऑफ अक्टूबर. अक्टूबर में हम लोग बहुत सारे ट्रैक्टर बना के वी यूज्ड टू गिव इट टू ऑल द डीलर्स सेइंग दैट रख लो इसको, बिकॉज इन नवंबर आई एम गोइंग टू कीप ऑल माय प्लांट ऑफ एंड देन इन डिसंबर अगेन आई विल वर्क हार्ड बिकॉज देयर इज अ शॉर्टेज. अब ये सब वेस्टेज है रितेश, बिकॉज दिस अक्टूबर आई विल प्रोड्यूस इट. नाउ इफ आई सेंड इट टू डीलर, वो डीलर रखेगा कहाँ पे? ही यूज टू गो अहेड एंड टेक सम लैंड, ओपन लैंड, वहां खड़े कर देते थे वो ट्रैक्टर पूरे. नाउ बाय द टाइम डिसम्बर कम्स और व्हेनेवर द कस्टमर कम्स, वो पूरा डस्ट होता था उसको, देन दे विल क्लीन इट. सो इट वाज ऑल वेस्टेज. while in total productive maintenance ऐसा कोई एक महीना बंद नहीं रहता. इट इज ऑलवेज continuously going on there, which is what is making productivity there. That's how it typically works. Ritesh, प्रोसेस इंडस्ट्री में चांस ही नहीं रहता है. करेक्ट.
Yes, sir. It's very.
स्टॉप इट, वो स्टॉप हो या वो पूरा चालू करने के लिए तेरा इतना खर्चा बढ़ जाएगा उसमें. सो यू नीड टू डू, सो हाउ डू यू मेंटेन देन? आई मीन इफ यू आर टू
Sir,
use
they have plan for weekly, monthly, quarterly maintenance type of things.
हाँ, एंड वो कैलेंडर से चलते रहते हैं वो अपना.
Yes. They have annual shutdown also, but that would be for specific areas because
Correct.
in process industries, it's not necessary to run all areas at a time. They can hold on some areas.
product industry it may not be possible, but
Yeah.
in IT it calls quarterly maintenance, that is global maintenance breakdown, and in the
हाँ.
year on end they do the power shutdown at least.
अच्छा, बिकॉज दैट इज एन इसेंशियल कि कभी ना कभी पावर शट डाउन करना पड़ेगा.
Yeah.
Yes.
Power
That.
down or power shutdown something
करेक्ट
they
करेक्ट.
use
हार्ड
western.
हार्ड रीबूट तो जरूरी है ना सबको. सो
Yes.
so anyway, that's good. So that's what he is saying. Emotional intelligence is a new thing called as a EQ, which is earlier days, people or leadership were getting chosen on the basis of something called as an IQ, intelligent quotients. The people who are having very high intelligence were chosen for the leadership roles and all that thing. What they are trying to say, this is a little old fashioned as well as limited thing. Now, what is that limitation? They say that these people with very high IQ sometimes leave, sometimes miss the people angle of the management. Did you notice that sometimes, the people who are at the very top level and came directly from some B school or anything, the type of improvements and all that thing they suggest is sometimes are not getting along with the company. Do they miss the people angle of it? They always look at the process was a high IQ के साथ ये problem था. They used to miss the people angle. EQ is a concept in which you are good about as an intelligent quotient. Also, you are empathetic about the people, which is very important. And this is that, trends which are there. I'm sure you would have realized there are two type of people, isn't it? High IQ वाले के साथ कुछ problem होता है. I mean, did you notice that? People angle, very often they miss it. Yes, Sanju?
Yes, sir.
That's
High
what-
IQ means they are always, their expectations are generally high. They do not, we call it, they do not have feelings kind of thing.
हाँ, तो फिर वो I mean वो
Always.
प्रॉब्लम होता है. इम्प्लीमेंटेशन नहीं हो सकते उनके सजेशंस. दे आर brilliant suggestions in the conference room or boardroom, but when it comes on to the ground, it they miss a lot of points there, which is where there. Then obviously self-organizing team, which is common. Good old days it was boss will always say, subordinates are there to follow, but these days self-organizing team is very common. Team itself will go ahead and put together, take their responsibility. They will be planning, they will be executing, they will do monitoring and control, and in a whole they are self-sufficient. Self-organizing team, which is very common thing. Then comes virtual teams or distributed teams. We are all familiar with that. Even the training what we are conducting right now is an example of virtual team, which means people are not necessarily sitting to next to each other, but they are working. So it's a latest trends which are very common. Tailoring may keep very important. Diversity you need to keep. The way in which if you are having a team of people who are all girls there, the way in which you'll have to manage and slight changes related to managing the all guys is going to be different. If you are having all the people who are Britishers in your team, the way in which you will manage, and when it is a mixed breed, then it's going to be different there. When you are actually doing a project in Pune and all your team members happen to be, the people who speak Marathi or otherwise, which is a local language here, you can use certain tactics, but if you are having all over India teams there, you need to keep it into the mind and accordingly tailor that particular thing. You cannot be, you cannot be using one-stop solution for everything. It doesn't, you'll have to tailor it. This is very important, So those things need to be done there. In case of Agile, as I told you, self-governed or self-organizing team is there. Collaboration is the key, and work assignments are flexible and changes are quick. If a team member says that what I should be doing today afternoon, you'll say this is what you should be, or rather he himself will say, this is what I'm going to do. But the same guy if it has been asked in it, what are you going next week? He said, no, that clarity I don't have. It's flexible and changes are quick. It depends. If I do this, I might do this, or otherwise you will be doing something different, which is the considering. Plan, as I told you, a simple strategy process. It will, how the PM will be estimating how all the processes. There is only two important outputs, and one output and one tool and technique, which I will explain it to you. Inputs are all well known to all of those people there. Existing resource competencies and availability. Sometimes you end up getting, so many people expert in that thing because the technology is not niche technology. It's the technology in which your whole team, your organization is working for last whatever, 12 years. You'll get so many people who are, but sometimes you are in other way, which means, your project is ever first time in your company. So you don't have people. So either of it is called as EEF, enterprise environmental factor. You need to adjust accordingly. Expert judgment is required, obviously, for this, and data representation. Now, this is the tool and technique I was saying. They very clearly say that you need to have something called as a project organization chart. This is different than your organization chart. Project organization chart is basically on your project, how it is going to happen. Remember, if you are running a project which has 5 people or 10 people and they are going to work for 3 months, you may not have a project organization chart like that. But there are 3 ways. Now, first one here, second one, and third one. Let me explain it to you using a blank paper here. The first one called as organization chart or OBS or hierarchical chart is called as, here is you, project manager. Then you might say that I have a requirement lead. I have a development lead, and I have a testing lead. These are only examples. It could be architect and all that thing. Under the development lead, I will have the architects, I will have the developers. Under the test lead, I will have test strategist, then test data preparator, and so on. Hierarchical chart. This is called as OBS. This is the first way, called as OBS, organization breakdown structure, sometimes also called as hierarchical chart. Who is reporting to whom and so on. This is OBS. This is one way of doing the organization structure. Very common, but as I told you, if you have some 7-8 people, and those 7-8 people are there and writing this, like, there would have 10 blocks and only 7 people. Where do you put? So this may not be very useful. In that situation, you might come up with this third one called as text oriented. What is text oriented? You say that the test analyst is a role, and say that he will collect the data, to set up the thing. 3 to protocol. Text oriented. Basically, JD likho. For each of the rule which is there, write the JD. These are the things he will perform. These are his rights. These are his responsibilities, and so on. This is text oriented. So this is second one. Third one. First one is hierarchical. Now the third one, assignment matrix, is called as a Rasi chart. Now Rasi chart is an example. You might have multiple. So for example, if you are having the thing there, let's say there is a project, and in that project there are multiple tasks. For example, I'm just keeping it simple, as let's say, if I take the tasks here. So for example, requirement capture, then designing, then development, then testing. So many multiple tasks will be there. This is, I'm taking very standard project development or software development step. These would be different. For example, if I go ahead and take it as a some prototype building, then the steps obviously will be respective there. Now here I will go ahead and have each one column for each. For example, the project manager. For example,
Responsible.
the system architecture. For example, here is, I have someone called as a, the developer, someone called as a tester. So as many roles there. Okay. And now what I need to write, friends, is that I need to write one out of the 4 word: R, A, C, and I. R stands for
Responsible,
responsible.
accountable, consultant, inform.
And consulted, and Ritesh, last one,
Inform.
inform. Correct. So what they are trying to say, for requirement capture, let's say if there is a BA, business analyst is responsible and project manager is accountable. Solution architect and these people may not be there, or maybe solution architect will be informed about it. In terms of designing, solution architect will be accountable as well as responsible, and business analyst will be only informed about it. So you need to write one out of these 4 words in this. Not necessarily everyone will play a role into each task. Some of the tasks, for example, this says that developer has no role to be played in the requirement capture, and so on and so forth. There is only one rule. The rule is that each of the row, there should be one A. There should be only one A, which means for every task, there should be only one person accountable, and one person has to be there. You can't say that there is a task for which there is no one accountable. Similarly, you can't say that this is a task where 2 or 3 people are accountable. Accountable will be only one. There could be multiple responsible. For example, if you go to the development, developer will be accountable as well as responsible. The tester also might be actually working in developing the thing. Solution architect. So multiple R is not a crime. Multiple A is a problem. You will not be doing it there. So RACI, this is only one way of putting. This is very commonly used. This is called as Rasi chart. RACI, responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed. So that is third way. So these are the 3 things, as you can see: hierarchical chart, assignment matrix like Rasi. Remember, Rasi is not the only. There could be multiple ways there, and it could also be text oriented like JD. So any of those things this is a tool which is there in this process. Otherwise, not many. Organization theory, the way in which each organization works, the formalities and all that thing work is different. Give me just half a minute. I will close the door. Some noise coming from outside. So yes, each organization its own way of working, and you need to understand. Basically, this is under the broader thing called as EF. You need to understand EF, Enterprise Environmental Factory Say. Meetings obviously for planning. Output, this one is common, no? Resource management plan. How are you going to identify the resource? Will you conduct interview? Will you use certain, evaluation criteria? Will you be giving some prioritize for, communication is very important for this role. Technology is important for, so those type of all, what tools you are going to use it? How will be required? Will you take them on contract? Will you take them on role? All that thing. Who is the definition, projects, organization, structure, as I told you that OBS or whatever, how are you going to acquire the people and so on. So all that, what trainings will be given to the team. And, so for example, it is possible that you might yourself deliver training. You might say that your team lead will deliver training. In some situation, you would have already created the knowledge base in form of PPT and tell the people saying that once you come within first 3 days, you should finish with that and give this small test. And once you, so whatever are your methods, you need to document under your plan. Resource controls, so will they fill in the timesheet? Is it that everyone need to report to the office every day in the office, or is it 3 days in a week, whatever, all those. And recognition, this is very important, and you certainly get some questions. R&R, rewards and recognition. They say that you should be very clearly defining what is the rewards and recognition applicable for your project. Remember, resource management plan you are not making for the whole of the company. It is for your project. So for your project, what rewards and recognition you are proposing? Remember, this may not be practical or may not be doing in your company, because in most of the situations, central corporate HR already has given you the guidelines saying that there would be one in every project, there would be one valuable team player in once in a quarter. There would be, the person of the month every. So whatever, there will be the policies. Take those policies and say that this is what I will be implementing in real life. But in the answer terms, they will say that rewards and recognition, say that it is covered under the resource management plan, which in turn, friends, again, coming back to this, yahan pe. So this is your, resource management plan you are creating. This resource management plan is finally going into project plan, 9 plus 1 plus 3. Yeah, 9 may say 1 is resource management plan. So that's how, it will get combined into the larger thing. So recognition plan. This is a new output called as a team charter. They say that, once you are doing, maybe during the kickoff meeting, once the team is there, all the team is there. At kickoff meeting, sometimes the whole team is not there, only the sponsor and key people are there. And after, recruiting or after, taking people on board, you might get an opportunity when most of the team members are on board. Now, what they say that conduct a meeting and develop a team charter. What is a team charter? Team charter is your, as in the in multiple that conferences and multi countries meet, in multiple places there, they come up with the resolution of the, meeting. You have you heard this word? SARC resolution or something of that nature. Have you heard this word? Yes, the groups pass something called as the resolution of that group. Do you recollect this, Aniruddha? Mahesh?
Heard it, but not able to relate it.
Not able to relate. See, typically what Anuruddha, they say that, the purpose of resolution is that now all of us are here, we are agreeing to this, everyone. What they are trying to say, Aniruddha, they say that, in such a meeting, when most of the people are there, go ahead and put few rules and everything which you want to follow in the overall thing. So, for example, the things like, that in this particular project, whenever we are talking, we'll be using only English as a language, and speaking to each other, in the local language is generally discouraged. Or For example, even the customer asks for any data, we'll always point him politely to the project manager rather than giving a separate, update to him. Now, if someone want to go on to the leave, he will give that indicative thing in the WhatsApp group, which will be creating for the thing. Basically, Aniruddha, what happens is this is everything you could have documented as a rule book for your project on day one, correct? And given this rule book to all of the people once they join, correct? Yes, Aniruddha?
Yeah, but in real life, we don't see this is being done. But there are some things which will be documented, like what will be the frequency of the meetings, what are the meetings will be there in the contract. That
Correct. Those are there, but even this. So, in fact, I mean, real wala baat kar rahe to Aniruddha, I have not seen even a single project which is using team charter. So let's, let's not try to relate how does that happen. But I actually believe one advantage of this approach, Aniruddha and everyone, please try to understand that, rather than you as a project manager publishing a rule book that will never go ahead and, supply any unwanted information which customer will ask time to time, or whenever I want to do it, I will use such and such system. If I am going to remain absent, and if I know it, I will update the team. Yes, sab cheez, if you write it as a rule book, Abhishek, there are, sorry, Abhishek, Aniruddha, there are challenges. सभी को बैठ के ना 1-2 घंटा बैठो, चाय पानी पिलाओ, और उसके साथ सबके साथ let everything, and they said below, there is a paper, सबने साइन करने के कि हमने ये एडजस्ट किया. It has a better buy-in. Is that making sense?
Uh, Actually, those things we usually say the way the communication guideline decision making we usually have in informal meetings or the one of the project meetings when we decide, come up with the meeting guidelines and the other things and what has to be done. In the project meetings, we usually discuss this, but we never document it, or else
No,
it will go
no,
in the
correct. I told you, I have not seen any project doing it ever. But
it will either go in the MOM.
correct. But इसमें क्या होता है ये team charter, if you call it as a team charter, there is always a better acceptance. Down the line, people don't think that this is Aniruddha ne banaya wala rule hai and I am going to follow it. It says that all of us put together we have done it, so let's adhere to it. So the adherence and all that thing becomes easier if it is called as a team charter. So that's where this thing called as a team charter comes into the picture. It is more acceptance way. As I told you, friends, I have also not seen any project doing these things. Even if it is there, वो थोड़ा MOM में जाएगा, or sometimes this. So frankly speaking, Aniruddha, in reality, when I was very participative way of manager when I was actually doing, but I never did team charter. What I used to do is that the main things will be discussed during the conference room and all that thing, जहाँ meeting होता था, and immediately after that, at least 1 hour I will keep away when we'll go all and sit into the cafeteria. So cafeteria में we used to decide some of the things together. If someone would have gone ahead and documented it, that would have been called as a team charter. That is the advantage. Basic advantage of team charter is that everyone says that this is not a rule book. This is what we have decided amongst ourselves. That becomes an advantage. That's the only reason for which, this is said to be. But understand it, from the exam perspective at least. And then some updates there. Estimate resource, as I told you, this is all well known. We have seen all those things already. So let's quickly.
Sanjay sir, can we go back a bit, please?
Yes, sure.
In the team charter, it also talks about the conflict resolution process. So what exactly means, and who is going to resolve that? Again, the manager is needed over here.
Right. Now, conflict management resolution, there are certain principles by the PMI, and people related, at least few questions, Aniruddha and everyone note, they will come on this topic called as conflict resolution. I mean, should the process be documented in team charter is different. But the principles, understand this. And Aniruddha, good, you noticed it. First of the thing which is there in the PMI's mind, and which is true as well, they say that if there is a conflict happening between individuals, they are the one who should sit down across the table and resolve it. First principle, there is step one. If Aniruddha and me, we are having some conflict about it as a team member, first process should be, we should discuss, sit together and try to resolve it. Going to the project manager for that is not the thing. So the scenario-based question, Aniruddha, they will actually throw, saying that, project manager was saying this, they will give you a long text and they will very clearly try to say that, someone was right, someone was wrong and so on. So what you should do it. And one of the option, Aniruddha, will be saying that, requesting them to sit down together and come up with whatever is agreeable should be always the first option there, which means the principle is that if there is a conflict between two individuals, preferably it should be resolved by them. They are very clear, not that everything could be. I mean, if everything was getting resolved, then there would have not been a conflict. So when it is not there, when it goes to the project manager, second is that check that such thing has happened. If it has not happened, then start doing the resolution by the project manager. Now here there are few rules. They say that, first thing, look at the issue or the problem, don't look at the personalities. You are not trying to find who is right or who is wrong. You are saying this is the decision, which decision is right or which decision is wrong. Associating with the people would not be right. It is quite possible in that process someone's side was right and someone else's side was wrong. People related question, Aniruddha, you can, they can throw as many questions. They will give, yeah, aisa bol raha hai, waisa bol raha hai, and what you should do it and all that. You need to de-associate the person with the problem. Problem is different. People are, you are going to find who, you are not going to find out who is at fault. You are going to say what is wrong. So that is another thing. In conflict resolution, we will be seeing multiple styles of doing the resolution, so which I will be explaining it to you using a slide. So that's what it is saying. Putting it into team charter, probably at most a sentence, Aniruddha might come saying that if there are conflicts, all of us, we agree that we'll first of all sit together and try to resolve, and only if it is not getting, then we'll go to the project manager. Those type of things could be written there in team charter, but conflict resolution in its own is an important. Yes, Aniruddha, does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
That's how it is done there. Now, estimate, as I told you, is well known to us. You need expertise to do an estimate, and these four methods, bottom up, we have seen it very accurate, but takes time. But when you have not done any project in the past, you have to do bottom up. Analogous, which is nothing else but, the top down, very fast, but not very accurate. Very important requirement for analogous is that you should have done similar projects several times in the past. Otherwise, you will not be able to do a good analogous estimate. Parametric is in between, break the project in parameters and for per parameter, put some rate. The fourth one, called as the 3-point, is not used here. And you are doing estimate, you need to check for alternatives. For example, if I use skilled people, the cost will go up, time might save, quality might go up. If I use unskilled people, my cost might get saved, time might increase there. If I go ahead and use manual things, or should I go ahead and use the automation there would be a different thing. So all those alternatives. Project management information system, any systems which you are using, for example, for creating the project plan, for raising the resource acquisition, or putting the requirement job description. So there will be multiple systems. They are all called as PMIs. And output will be resource requirement. Which are the resources required, when they are required, what is the quantity, what is their skill, what is their grade, and so on. Do you want them to be on board, on contract, whatever? And similarly, basis of estimate, whatever are your assumptions. So this was, the thing. A new output called as resource breakdown structure. Resource breakdown structure is like that organization. So here I would, at the top of it will be called as a project X resources. This is the top. Now here you might have something called as a people resources. You might have something called as the raw material. Raw material. You might have something called as the tools. Under raw material, you might have consumables. Consumables. You might have, the civil raw material. Under civil, you might have a steel. You might have cement. Under the people, you might have the project management related people, the civil engineers, site engineers, and so on. Civil engineer may either labor. A hierarchical type of thing is called as resource breakdown structure. And we say that multiple level, so that's all. skills are also shown in the RBS. In the RBS, if you go ahead and say civil contractor, what all he should have, or site engineer should have these qualities. I am taking civil example. It could be applicable for any type of projects there. Then comes acquisition. Once the people requirement is given, it's the time to acquire the people on board. If you want to see at the overall picture, we did this plan and now we are here, acquire. So the process to get the required resources on board, it includes the people as well as other material like raw material, consumables, tools, machinery, laptops, everything. All the thing comes under acquire. Project team may not have full control. Sometimes, as in one of the example, it was saying that a functional manager went ahead and removed some resource. You recollect there was a question we spoke. You remember that? He suddenly removed that person, then what you should do? Anyone from low PMP, we tried that question.
Which one? Sorry, could you please repeat that question?
Yeah, I was saying that, there was a question in low PMP, which was saying functional manager suddenly removed 2 resources from your project and what you should do next. वाला एक question था. Does anyone remember that? देखते
No.
तक से मिलेगा क्या? I'm not too sure. It will bring, but there would be too many. Oh, what happened? Functional manager. Did I made any mistake? Oh, I forgot. Functional manager. Functional manager. See, I forgot. Yes. Functional manager, friends, while I am searching this question still, is a person who is holding resources separately. In some companies, you as a project manager don't have a complete control on the project, on the team. They are reporting to, one of the other manager. It is, directly under his thing. Rather, sometimes, he is more directly reporting to him and he is given to you as a lend resource, which means he is going to work with you. Those type of managers are called as the functional manager, who are, sorry, there was something called as functional manager.
Yes, few resources are coming from the practice team and they are
Correct. जैसे
their
practice
dedicated team basically.
correct. Those
We
type
pulled,
of
yeah.
is called as functional manager. So there was a question. He said that he went ahead and removed those people. What you should do, contingency
But,
वगैरह ऐसा कुछ नाम दिया था उसने.
but in ideal scenario, it is not the case. Like he cannot remove those because there is a contract in between the project and those practice
But
teams as well
वो
for a
I
certain time.
But क्या होता है अभिषेक, I mean, in reality, even if this is right, it is in reality वो कभी कभी करते हैं वो लोग. It depends on how powerful those guys are there, and if that happens, the question was
वो
actually hinting what you should do there.
We have
अगर
to
फाइनेंशियल
actually.
बेनिफिट्स नहीं होंगे ना तो वो करते हैं, अदरवाइज होता क्या है जनरली दे मतलब वो लोग फाइनेंशियल बेनिफिट्स लेते हैं उस चीज का कि दे आर प्रोवाइडिंग द रिसोर्सेज दे took the billings for those resources as well internally,
Exactly.
तो वो अलग चलता है.
हाँ, और कभी कभी और वो प्रायोरिटाइजेशन वाला भी हो जाता है ना. ही गेट समथिंग विच इज मोर फायर, बर्निंग सिचुएशन, तो वो आपका आदमी निकाल के वहां दे देगा. So
Right.
So these things actually we will be updating it in the risk log, right?
one is
Risk
the
log
if I
and
No,
issue
talk on
log.
no.
that, the first statement he is saying here, look at it here, it could be with the project team may not have full control. That's what this situation. He is saying may not, by the way, if it is projectized organization, isko na understand this. They are saying functional organization. Functional organization is the type of organization where resources are not directly under you. They are given to you. They are having a external boss there. The second type of thing is called as projectized organization, or it is sometimes called as project oriented. Project oriented. Now, in the project-oriented organization, friends, what happens is that the people are directly under you. In this type of organization, they cannot be pulled because it is you. आपका permission नहीं है, he will not be able to do it. Now, what happens? What they are trying to say, if it is a functional organization, you need to do a proper negotiation to get the proper people, because he will try to give whosoever is probably ये आदमी 6 महीना बेंच पे दे दो इसको अभिषेक को. That would be his attitude, but you'll have to do a proper negotiation. You'll have to do all that thing. If it is there, if it is a projectized, then it is okay. In the projectized, on the other hand, while you seems to be very powerful, they say that in the projectized organization, people are worried, saying that at the end of the project, what will they do? Because at the end of the project, see, projects are temporary, functions or departments are ongoing. Functional organization, what happens, those resources are not much worried. The day on which Abhishek's project will get over, or my role into the Abhishek's project will get over, I will go back to that functional manager and he will give me something new. वो देखते रहेगा. But if it is a projectized organization, people are worried कि इसके बाद मैं क्या करूंगा? What will I get it? So those are, advantage versus disadvantage of functional and projectized. But most important, if it is a functional organization, you need to do a proper negotiation, visibility, influencing. Influencing is a skill which you need it if you are working in the functional organization. Do you agree to this?
100%.
है ना? इन्फ्लुएंसिंग नहीं है तो वो तो
Yes.
बोला ना, जो कहाँ पे भी बैठ नहीं फिट नहीं होता है वो सब अनिरुद्ध को दे देंगे वो लोग. करेक्ट अनिरुद्ध?
I got it actually in one of my project where we wanted the replacement. We have taken it in couple of days with the influencing the other
Which is
resource manager.
absolutely required there. So which is what they are trying to say. Not getting proper resource is absolutely bad, because then your project will suffer. In case of non-availability of the internal, you will have to take it from contract. Contract may you need to be checking legal compliances. This is very important. People sometimes, forget the legal complications. For example, I always give this example saying that, like all other project managers are not ready to release the resource. When, resource department said that iska kaam ho gaya kya, de de mere ko, I will take them back. They are always in hurry to take good people there. And project managers are always resistant. They are, nahi, abhi tak kaam nahi hua. Nahi. So he was not releasing there. And then, once that whole thing happened, sign off and all that thing happened, he said that, you take this guy back now from tomorrow. And he was on contract. What happened? The resource manager said that, this is what I was asking you from last 3 months. That हो गया क्या, तू नहीं बोलता था. Now you are saying from take it tomorrow. I am not going to take it, because the contract says that we need to give him 1 month of notice. Next 1 month he will come to the office, cafeteria में के कॉफी पिएगा, तेरे को पैसा देना पड़ेगा. You have to pay it, because it's a legal thing. If you go to some European countries, asking people to work beyond 5 p.m. has a legal complication. You need to consider it. Asking your own resource, saying that, can you please, come on the Saturday for 4 hours and finish this off, is not a thing. In contractual things, this could be a problem. Are you getting this? Calling a lady in the night shift has its own regulations which are there. You need to follow them. So all those legalities are important and you need to be knowing it, is what he is saying. These are inputs which are well known to us. EFs, making decisions, when you are taking the people on board, if you have been offered, let's say, 15 resumes there, and you need to take only, 6 out of this, you might use multi-criteria, so you might go ahead and say that, what is for availability, this is very critical. So 10 point, 20 points for availability. Cost is not so important for me. So 10 points for cost. Then ability or attitude, communication skill, technology skill, visa, all those things will give the weightage. And then that weightage you will put to all these 15 and say that these are the top 6 I will use out of them. So use some small single, Excel spreadsheet, write the name of all those 15 people. In the column, give these things and give the weightage, add all the things, say that which are the topmost or the best 6 out of them. This is called as, multi-criteria. Then interpersonal and team skills, as even Aniruddha was just now saying, he influenced the thing to get right people. And that's what Acquire Resource needs, interpersonal and team skills. Because You'll have to do negotiation with functional manager, that team itself, sometimes supplier, sometimes sponsor. No, the sponsor said that you can take any person whose rate is, between $20 an hour to $25 an hour. This is what is required. And you get exceptionally talented guy whose rate is $27. Okay, now negotiation. With whom? Sponsor. I have to tell him ki sir, $27 wala hai, thoda zyada hai, but still look at it. So you'll have to do it. It's an and influence. Influence, as Aniruddha, you are saying, is absolutely required. For that, sometimes you need to create the visibility, you need to do all that thing. And that is important. I'm sure, Aniruddha, everyone will agree that it's important.
Yeah.
So then pre-assignment, sometimes, the people are directly assigned into the project because they are working in pre-sale. Sometimes they are because, in the organization, when a project comes into the telecom domain, a telecom expert will always be associated. Or when there is a BFSI project, there would be one, functional guy from the financial accounting will come into the thing. These are called as pre-assignment. Pre-assignment में advantage होता है कि develop resource which is giving the training becomes easier because that is already, done as a part of that. Virtual teams, pretty well. People are sitting in multiple places. Virtual teams could be assembled very easily. The cost of putting up team together becomes easier. On the other hand, challenge about virtual teams is that, that personal individual rapport is less, which is because these people are not meeting each other, on day-to-day basis. But anyway, I mean, this is an inevitable part of teams sometimes. An output physical resource getting assigned to the person. So for example, a server is given to someone, a laptop is given to someone, desk space is given to someone. So that physical resource assignment and project team assignment. Earlier you have identified someone who will play the requirement lead. So and so will play requirement lead. You already identified someone will be the chief architect, and now Aniruddha will be the chief architect. So basically, earlier your organization structure was blank with the titles or roles. Now it is a time to go ahead and assign the people. Let's use the calendars and change request. Now comes developing the team. For developing the team, you need to have so many. Remember, these are very questions which are going to ask lot of questions related to people, which are going to be 75 questions out of 180, which means 42% questions are going to be on the people. So these are, each of these sentence could be converted into a scenario-based questions. So you should be responsible and inspire people by doing something. High team achievement by employing these behaviors. For example, using open and effective communication, they will give you a long text and say, where did he went wrong? It's quite possible he was not very communicative. He had very good strategies, plans, everything, but communicated. Creating the team building opportunities, developing the trust amongst team member. Every sentence here is very easy to type, only few alphabets here, but doing so is a challenge. It's not very easy in the real thing. Answering questions on this also sometimes could be tricky. Managing conflicts in the constructive manner. One of the belief which PMI very clearly say that conflicts are not bad. Don't say that if there is a conflict, there are a lot of conflicts amongst the team member, it's bad. It only says that, if you do it properly in a constructive way, if you handle the conflicts, your team might emerge to be a better team. That's what is their belief, not necessarily always, but they said conflicts, if they are resolved properly, your team will become more stronger. You need to collaboratively solve the problem as well as collaboratively decision making. Each of these sentences, as I told you, could be easily converted into a scenario. Hopefully, you would be able to solve them easily. Objective of developing team, some of the, again, similar things, very powerful things. Developing team is essential. Cultural differences are inevitable because some people could be from different geography, nationality, gender, religion, region, language. क्या नहीं हो सकता. You need to make all them work together and deliver the project. So that's where developing the team. And one of the things they say that, cultural sensitivity training, cultural sensitivity training is an essential job of the project manager when there are multi-geography, multicultural people coming into the thing. Arrange this training. That's what they are trying to say. Because Few things which are very casual in one place could be treated as little more serious in some other, culture. So that's where that's very important. Improving the knowledge and skill, improving the feeling of trust, and so on. Now, there are some theories, and you will certainly get, one or two questions on these theories. So listen to these theories very carefully. You will get certainly some questions. It being the 1 p.m., I need to also check with everyone. Is he or she physically as well as mentally present in the classroom? Can everyone please confirm? He's present.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Mala is there. Anushri, madam. Yes. Ajay says.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here, the
Yes,
first
sir.
one, this is called as a Tuckman ladder. Tuckman is the person who was the one who went ahead and put this theory there. He says that whenever there are multiple, people coming across multiple geographies, multiple, things, when they are coming up together, first time when teams come together, they go through 5 stages. They are called as forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. They will always go through this. Remember, it is a human nature because of which it will happen. Now, what are those? Let me explain it to you. First thing is called as forming. Forming is a stage where everything is brilliant because you are first time meeting multiple people, someone from Chandigarh, someone from Chennai, someone from Coimbatore, someone from Bhopal. They came together and you are working and delivering the project in Bangalore. Bangalore, ever first time they are meeting, stage called as a forming, everything will be brilliant. Bhopal, you from Bhopal, oh, that is the lake city, I liked it and all that. Those type of discussions which are happening. And filter coffee from Madras, I like it. Now, those are the forming stage. No fights, nothing. It's going on well because nothing. Then you start working, you start assigning the work and all that thing. And at that point on time, all the teams will go through the second stage and it is called as storming. People will go through the storm. As the name implies, it is fight. People will start fighting. Why? Because what you think the other people should do, they are not necessarily, they also think like that. I thought that the PMO, if I want a laptop, will go ahead and make a requisition for me. That is how it was happening in my last project. This time, this guy said that if you want it, you raise it. He's not. Storming. Storming is a fight between the people, which is inevitable when there are multiple people coming up together. That's called as a storming. Storming is a stage where people will take very harsh statements. If Anushri is the project manager there, two team members will come to Anushri and tell her saying that Anushri, in this project, please understand, either he will work or I will work. You decide what do you want. These type of statements are not uncommon because team is in the storming stage. In the storming stage, what you need to understand is that these are not really their individuals. They are slightly different than what they are seen that point on time. That's what is the storming. You need to pacify them. Don't take very harsh decisions at that point on time. Now, I will give you an example and you realize this when I tell that. Did you notice that in all the different projects, wherever you have worked, and remember, friends, this theory is very funny. Huh? This theory is nothing to do with project management. Huh? This is a theory which is general theory which has put by this guy. This is applicable when you have moved into a new apartment scheme. Have you? Sometimes there was a new apartment scheme and everyone came and they occupied the flats. Have you been part of that? Such an event sometime?
Yes, sir.
होता है ना ऐसा तो होता है. Have you sometimes went ahead and traveled in a group of travelers? Some 25 people together. They are going on to, let's say, whatever, Kurg and whatever, Mysore and all that tour. 8 दिन का tour जाके आए. That type of thing?
Yes.
Not necessarily, by the way, this could be Kiran, all your close relatives only. But they decided and they went together. Even that is called as it's a team dynamic. So they come together, these type of thing. Okay. Obviously, in the project, as you know. In the Indian context, friends, they say that marriages are not happening between two individuals. In India, marriages are not between two individuals. What does it mean? The second part of this.
It's a family.
Ah,
Get.
Second part of the statement, they say that it is between two family. Marriages are always between families in India. Unlike the Western world, marriages are between the families. In the marriages also, the full ये पूरा cycle चलता है. Okay, so now keep all those things in mind. When you went and joined the college first time when you joined the college, from different place went to the college may be a storming, and now try to understand this behavior. I am saying, Anushri, so storming, two of the people come to you and say that ki Anushri ya to wo rahega ya to main rahunga, that type of statement. Now my statement here, listen to this very carefully. Have you came across that such people sometimes 1 year down the line, if you go ahead and you will realize that they are the best friend, they are so great friends that they are planning कि next वाला project जाऊंगा ना तो तू जहां जाएगा ना मैं आऊंगा. Have you seen such 180-degree turn happening? And I'm sure it would have happened with you as well sometimes. Have you seen it? Yes.
Yes, I have seen this.
You have seen it, isn't it, Abhishek? ऐसा होता है, हर ग्रुप में होता है, हर
Right,
ग्रुप
right.
में ऐसा होता है.
Absolutely.
इसके साथ मैं वो मेरा सबसे अच्छा दोस्त बन जाता है डाउन द लाइन. तो व्हाई इज दैट? इट इज बिकॉज स्टॉर्मिंग इज अ स्टेज यार. वो स्टेज में ऐसा होता है. यू शुड नॉट बी फ्राइटेंड अबाउट इट. स्टॉर्मिंग इज एन इनएविटेबल पार्ट ऑफ द लाइफ. आई मीन ऐसा होता है सब जगह. नाउ व्हाट हैपेंस नेक्स्ट स्टेप, दिस गाय हैज सेड दैट देन इट बिकम्स नॉर्मिंग. Norming is a stage where people don't go ahead and change their own nature, but they realize that this person is not that bad. He is all the way great to work. थोड़ा एडजस्टमेंट है यार इसका, थोड़ा ये है. I mean, this guy गोविंदन who is from चेन्नई, जहां जहां खाने के लिए जाना है, दिस गाय नीड्स अ होटल वेयर देयर इज अ कर्ड राइस. इसको कर्ड राइस चाहिए बस, बाकी कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. दिस गाय इज वेरी वेरी जीनियस. समवन विल से दैट this guy, if you ask him to stay back in the office even till 9 p.m. every day, that guy never has a problem. But on the Friday evening, if you tell him, he gets wild. स्टॉर्मिंग में इसी पे झगड़े होते थे. ऑन फ्राइडे व्हेन ही वाज टोल्ड सेइंग दैट कैन सी किरण, आई वाज आस्किंग यू यस्टरडे दैट शुड आई डू, यू नेवर टोल्ड एनीथिंग एंड नाउ हाउ कैन यू टेल मी. 4 p.m. झगड़ा चालू हो गया because this guy on the Friday will go ahead and catch some bus and go to some hometown. If you tell him to do something, he's not going to do it. That all gets ironed out in the norming, because then by now Kiran knows कि इसको कुछ ज्यादा काम चाहिए ना. डोंट वरी, दिस गाय इज गुड. फ्रॉम मंडे टू थर्सडे आस्क हिम टू स्टे बैक. रात में 11 बजे तक रुकेगा, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. द ओनली थिंग इज दैट इफ यू टेल हिम दैट ऑन द फ्राइडे दिस गाय इज रॉन्ग, that is where norming comes. Norming में people don't change, but people's expectations from each other get rationalized and they start accepting. Obviously the next step of this is performing, where people will start delivering the results. And projects are always temporary, so eventually adjourning. The last day there would be get together. People will say that if you come to Bhopal next time, मेरे को phone करना, I will host you. You should come to me only, and you should not stay in any hotel. No, these are adjourning. Basically, bye bye. हाँ, number दे के रखना. All those type of things are adjourning. These are the 5 stages through it goes. This is a generic theory. This is not, PMI has taken this theory from the general, books and all that thing. Now, why? Because you as a project manager need to be aware. There are 2 things you can do. First thing, under the storming, don't take any harsh decision. Remember, what people speak in the storming stage is not necessarily what they mean. It only is a psychological thing which is making them to speak like this. First thing. Second thing, try to allow people to cross to next stage as early as possible. Arrange some get-togethers, arrange some interview, for example, interaction sessions, something of that nature which will make the team to pass this stage very fast. Is the learning from this particular theory, and very beautiful theory. I mean, even in travel, did you notice, when people are coming together for a travel which is for 15 days, ये सब होता है. Have you seen it?
Yes.
In a thing, because I keep on traveling a lot. Anushri, you are saying something?
No, I was just saying yes.
Yes. So, because I keep on doing traveling a lot these days with the groups, obviously, and unknown groups there. So I have seen it very common in all the things. I so many times I traveled, with the groups. On day 1, day 2, day 3, you will find that there would be at least one family or one individual. If there is, a buffet dinner or buffet lunch there, he will be the first one there. He will go and take that lunch dinner के लिए सबसे पहले लाइन में वो खड़ा रहेगा. On day 1, day 2, people used to go ahead and say, क्या आदमी है यार? I mean, is it that हर टाइम पहले ही आगे रहते हैं? Everyone used to go ahead and say, क्या आदमी है? What is this? No. And even, he will complain to the tour manager. हाँ, अभी तक खाना क्यों नहीं लेकर? All those things. 5 days down the line, on a one given particular day, the food was served and this guy was not there. This guy has not reached there. Everyone was there. This guy has not. Now the people who were actually grievancing about it, they are the one who came back and started thinking, अरे आया क्यों नहीं अभी तक? Someone actually went to his room, knocked his door, खाना लग गया, आया क्यों नहीं तू अभी तक? Did you notice the thing which was already a complaint? Now people said कि हाँ यार ऐसा तो होना चाहिए. That this is that transition. It becomes norming with time. You need to understand it. Is what is this theory? This is applicable in so many places. All the managers go through storming. Did you notice this?
Yes, sir.
And ये stage में, if you take harsh decisions, you are in trouble.
Hello.
Are you making sense? The people who cross this end up if you look at it there, does it mean that they live a compromised life after that? ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता. It's not a compromised life.
Oh, okay.
So that is the beauty of this particular theory there. To understand it there, you might get some questions. Some more theories called as halo effect. Halo effect is basically, they say that, you are going to evaluate someone on the basis of his capability. For example, someone was very good developer, very sincere there. You thought that isko leader bana dete. Let's make him a team lead. And as a team lead, he fails drastically. It is called as halo effect. Halo effect is basically a theory in which you are trying to evaluate someone on some capability and that another capability is not able to do it. That's how it called as a halo effect. Understand this, these are now not there in the current version of PMP. Whether they will ask in the exam, I don't know. Some of the mock papers do have it, and that's why I tend to cover them quickly. Parkinson's law. Parkinson's law says that, whatever is the resources available, whatever is the time or resources available, they will go ahead and occupy the need. The need will get generated after some time. For example, if you had, your travel was, 2 hours going to the office and 2 hours, coming back to the office. This was the total time which is required. And in addition to that, obviously, whatever 8 hours of work. What happened? You moved into some place or your office moved the place in such a way that this was only half an hour now. Half an hour you can reach the office, half an hour you come back from the office. Now this means you should get additional more time to do. It doesn't happen. What it says, it will go ahead and some other thing will crop up and your time will get lost into that. You'll start doing something which you are not doing. So that's called as the Parkinson's law. The reason for which PMs need to do it, that when you are approving any resources, additional person, additional material, additional tools, be careful. If you think that if I sanction this and give this problem will get solved, no, the requirements will increase. Requirements, the moment you fulfill something, requirements fulfill, increase. That's a very common sort of a thing. It will always grow. The requirements will always grow. It is applicable for time as well, So currently, if you are not able to do something because you have limited time, tomorrow if you get additional 1 more hour, on first day you will not understand what to do in that 1 hour. After 15 days, you will realize that is utilized for something or the other. There are two type of managers. You certainly get, one question on this, X and Y. X type of manager always think that people are lazy. You need to take a stick or you need to have a carrot, then only they will work, although they don't work. On the other hand, Y type of manager says that people are not lazy, people are not, bad, but when they are not working, it is because their environment, there is something wrong. If I go ahead and help them with the right environment, right tools, they are going to work. So why people think, Y type of manager says people are good, X type of people say that stick is required. These type of managers are always there. Z, you leave it. And then, this guy called as a McClods, he has gone ahead and said that, whole of the world, if you go ahead and take all your current subordinates, and try to segregate, they will be in three things. Something called as, some of them are achievement oriented. These people get a kick if you give them some challenging task. If something is done, they are happy. Affiliation, these people feel good about friendship. If for them, it doesn't matter what type of work you are giving it to them. For them, it is you calling him to the room and saying that, I think we are having a problem and I am doubtful who will be able to do it. If you do it, it is good. It's the dirtiest work. He will do it because he is affiliation oriented guy. If you do the same trick with the achievement guy, call him there and say, he will say, no, this is not what I'm going to get the kick out of it. Other way around, other way around. The same challenging job, if you give it to this affiliation guy, he might say that, see, Abhishek ने बोला तो मैं कुछ भी करता था, but see the way in which Abhishek is telling. No, he should have called me into the room and asked me, saying that he is just sending me a mail. Now, affiliation oriented guys को achievement दोगे, he will not feel good. Achievement oriented guy, it will not. Similarly, power. People power oriented. They get a kick out of the fact that there are 50 people under me and it's only me who will decide about it. Look at it, it is not necessarily he is deciding the promotion of those people or their increment or their appraisal. It is just possible that he is the one who is going to make the shift roster. The people who the person who is power oriented, if you give him the job to go ahead and do the shift roster, he will feel powerful about it. Now, all these characters, I'm sure you would have seen, remember them from the exam. Maslow's law of theoretical. Anyone has seen this? I think few of you would have seen this. Have you seen?
Yes.
अभिषेक आपने देखा था, कहाँ देखा था? MBA किया था आपने कोई?
MBA में है सर ये।
Operations management मैंने किया हुआ है, तो उसमें है ये।
Basically, what they say is that this Maslow's is, he's the guy who went ahead and he said that, when the people are there, people's requirement are always, they will grow up and up requirement. And those he has categorized into the 5 steps. One is called as physiological needs, which means where people are actually going to fulfill their basic needs. I always give this example saying that in all the metro cities, if you are driving the car or anything there, and when you are standing near a signal, which may be near, some flyover, you'll find that so many families, people are staying under that bridge, under that thing, and they come there to sell you either the pen or some, tissue paper or whatever, packing bags, they will bring there. And, once that signal goes, they will go to the other side. They will keep on doing it there. Now, if you go ahead and ask them, say, is this life here? I mean, you are staying there in the night, and you are selling this, how much money will you get out of all that thing? Now the answer they might give, saying that, see that you are not able to understand, sir. It is because if I go back to my hometown, I will not get even the water to drink. I will not get anything to eat. Here, at least at the close of the day, I am getting some vada pav, something like that, some idli sambar to eat at least. I am getting the water, and that's what is my need. He is in need called as a physiological need. Unless physiological needs are fulfilled, nothing will work. It was motivating him. The motivation why he came from that whatever city or village to the place was physiological need. But if you meet the same guy 6 months down the line and you ask him, say that, good, अच्छा चल रहा है, you are getting vada pav, idli sambar every day, some water, but उससे क्या होता है, sir? I am worried. So he said, and now safety, look at it. His statements will start saying that, if these anti-encroachment guys, you remember in the center of the city, they removed some of the people there. If they remove it to me as well, what will happen? I will be in trouble. I'm just not, I'm uncomfortable. This physiological, once it is satisfied, his safety needs will start taking the predominance. He will say that I need to be safe, which means if you meet the same guy 6 months down the line and you realize that, yes, he has got a promise from the newly elected chief minister that no one will be removed, they will be there. So very good. Safety mil gaya. Now it becomes loves and belonging. He said, we are, the people here from the city, they don't accept us, as a friend. So what we have done, now we have gone ahead and made a group of, let's say, if it is Maharashtra, we are all Kannadigas who are going to make a family, a group there. Whatever, it could be all Biharis, they would have one group, in a given thing. It is love and belonging, because now they, once physiological and safety needs are done, love and belonging. Uske baad mein next time you meet him and he will be contesting the election for chairman for all Jharkhand guys together. Very funny. But esteem. Now he needs a boss. He need to be, seen as that. The top one is called a self-accumulation, where he feels that he is doing what he believes is good. These are the 5 levels of the thing. The reason for it, again, as I told you, this is an external theory, not from the PMBOK. PMI has not invented. This is a general theory, as a lot of people were saying. This is taught into any MBA classes. The reason for which this is being taught to the project manager say that you need to understand the resources which you are working, which stage is he or she. If his requirements related to safety are not completed, if you try to give him his team, he will not feel good. He will not be very happy with that. वो जो एक स्टेटमेंट आता है ना, मैंने तेरे लिए क्या क्या नहीं किया, and you didn't do this. This could be because of a mistake in this. If you try to do esteem related to someone whose safety or physiological needs are not fulfilled, he is not going to behave as you want him to behave or what you think he will. Because, so what they are trying to say, understand this. Everyone, based on his life stage, his requirement, his earning and all that thing, would be at a different stage, and it will only, the next one will motivate. Another thing is that this will always fill in from the bottom. Unless the physiological needs are completed, safety, he is ready to take all the safety risk till the time he doesn't get anything to, water and food. But once this is done, he will start worrying about the safety. Once these both are done, then he will worry. These are the 5 stages. They might give you the scenario and say that where is this? They might ask them what is the top one, what is the bottom one, and so on. Or they may give the requirement is that which stage is there. These are the inputs. Few more minutes and then we should be able to do resource, even though we are not completing communication. So just few more minutes. Co-location, sometimes, against the virtual teams. Virtual teams, people are sitting apart. They are sitting in different cities as compared to, one place. So co-location is opposite of that, where people are sitting together. When you want to solve some problem, rather than, taking everything over the video calls, phone calls and all that thing, you go ahead and make them sit together. So maybe 3 days people are sitting together and solving some issue. Becomes very effective. It's very useful when you are doing some mission critical type of things and all that thing. Useful to do that. Virtual teams, this is opposite of, co-location. Communication technology should be used, when you are doing this. Either shared portal, video conference, audio conference, all of those you are using pretty commonly. You need to, when people, you are developing the team, you need to manage the conflict. As I told you, different people from different background, influencing, motivation, negotiation, and team building. All those skills are required by the project manager. You can build as many thousands of questions on the scenarios asking these questions. Recognition and rewards, planning what are the rewards, recognition. When you are doing it, your typical behavior, your approach should be that whatever you want to increase, give the reward to that. Whatever you want to discourage, plan your rewards and recognition in such a way that it will encourage the good behaviors, what you believe. So if you believe on your project, working hard is very important. Plan your rewards, which are actually around the working hard. Working hard is important rather than working smart. In some other project, it could be different. It may not be, working hard, but working smart. So you need to plan it accordingly, is what he's trying to say. Cultural differences you need to consider. Something, for example, a movie ticket for 2 is a thing which may not be appealing same to all the people. Someone who is at a very senior position and for, middle stage of his life with kids and all that thing, movie ticket for 2 का क्या करेगा बोल के. So you need to consider all that thing pretty well. Rewards could be monetary as well as non-monetary. Some certificate sometimes is very important. Sometimes, rewarding him into a ceremony max, that whole thing called as a ceremony matters him. Trainings are required to be given, either classroom, informal. Monitoring is very important, and whenever there is a training, you need to evaluate his performance, saying that did he understood that. You need to do assessment, as I told you. Assessment could be an exam, assessment could be an interview, assessment could be tracking his work performance, Assessment could be a third party, test, multiple tools. But whenever you give the training, you should assess what you have trained. Has he learned it? And team performance assessment. So that was about this. Then comes managing the team. Having developed the team, it's managing the team. So you need to have several general management techniques. For example, doing the proper communication, conflict management, then negotiations, leadership. All these things are required for you to manage teams effectively. Your technical knowledge is not enough to manage the team. Giving the proper environment is important. Timely recognitions are important. And you need to be sensitivity about willingness and capability. Both words are important, by the way. Someone who is only willing but not capable, not a great thing. Someone who is only capable but not willing, not good. When you are assigning something, you need to check that this guy is willing to do that job and he has a capability. If it is not there, it does not mean that he is unfit. You have to work on that. Now, someone is not willing about it. He is capable. You have to do something, for example, motivate him, update him, say that what he gets, willingness might increase, capability he already had. In some situation, he was willing, but lacking capability. This is relatively easier. Provide him the training and he will. So, but both the things are there. You need to use different styles to manage the conflict, which we will be seeing in a slide from now. These are all the inputs. Interpersonal team skill, conflict management, as I told you, multiple people with multiple, attitudes, multiple approaches, and conflicts are inevitable. Some of the conflicts are because of the personality. Some of the conflicts are because of some issues. They say that most of the conflicts are out of the personality. इसमें हम लोग डिबेट कर सकते हैं, as much time. But from the PMI perspective, always keep in mind conflicts come because of the different personalities. The root cause of a lot of conflicts there. Decision making is an essential part when you are actually, managing the team, because people will come back to you. They will ask something. Appropriate decisions is very important. And we spoke about EQ. हमने बोला this is called as emotional intelligence. Emotional quotient is the index in which emotional intelligence could be measured. EQ and they are same. Conflict management, these are the 5 styles, and you always, will tend to get the questions here. Withdraw or avoid. The project manager, when he was asked, am I right or that guy is right, or am I right or customer is right? Your team member comes to you, say that this customer is too demanding. Every time he comes up with something new, creative, becomes very difficult. I can't work with him. Customer said that this guy is very rigid. Whenever I ask him something, he said my working hours are done. This is not good. So conflict. A withdraw or avoid type of project manager, the person who is using conflict management style called as withdraw or avoid. What he will say, I am very busy, Next Friday, there is a board meeting. I'm preparing for that. Can you please handle this yourself? This is called as withdraw or avoid. He's not participating in it. It is there. Is that a good style? Probably no, but sometimes some people use it. Second, smooth or accommodate. Smooth or accommodate is, a better way of handling withdraw or avoid. In withdraw or avoid, you say that I am not going to do, you do it. In smooth or accommodate, he talks to both the people and does something called as a pep talk, which means he will listen to both of them. He will ask the team member, oh, okay, is it? Last time, when did he do that? Oh, okay, every week he is saying so. That's what he spoke to the. So I think this is bad. We need to come up with some solution. That was the conclusion. Then he picked up the phone, talked to the customer, and customer said, see, this guy is so adamant. What happened last week? Oh, okay. So this looks to be real. I need to do something. That's it. He listens to both of them, does nothing about it. Called a smooth or accommodate. Not necessarily a good style, by the way. Remember, none of these styles are good or bad. You need to use it in appropriate stakeholder, in appropriate situation. There are some situations where you have to use withdraw or avoid. There are some situations where you need to use smooth or accommodate, compromise or reconcile. Basically take one step. Ask one person to go ahead and take one step back. ठीक है यार, customers are always like that. What can we do? Let's accommodate. We'll see that. Maybe if that continues, we'll figure out. But currently, whatever customer is saying. Or otherwise, if it is other end, you go to the customer and say, see, resources were last month, that Rahul, he left because of this. I think you need to be little rational so that, See, if this guy now leaves, we are going to be in trouble. Basically, compromise. Your force or direct is, where you go ahead and ahead. This is what is my decision. We are going with this. Just don't listen, not very democratic. Say, this is how I am going to do it, force or direct. The last one, called as collaborate or problem solve, is going deeper, doing the analysis and saying this is the best way of doing it. These are the 5 styles. Is this good or bad? There is nothing good or bad. This in isolation is good. This is the best one for the reason is that here you are concentrating on the problem, not the people. The type of solution which will come with the problem solving or collaborate, because you are going root cause of the thing and solving it, it will be last longing, which means that solution will work for long. Will it take more time? Yes, it will take more time. So those are the 5 styles you might give, they will give scenarios that which style is this and so on and so forth. This is not there from Pimbok. Last time I kept it. This is also not there, but when you are making decisions, you are taking strategic decisions at a top level, which has 3-year, 4-year impact. Tactical decision, which is medium term decisions, and then operational or day-to-day decisions. So remember these 3 names: operational, tactical, and strategic. And change request. These are all the outputs well known to us. And then control is like all other control processes, taking the project plan and all that thing. Remember, there is one important thing: human resource control is covered under the managed team. What they are trying to say, understand. You might get question which will test your. He is saying in terms of control resource, only material thing will be done here. People related, human resource wala control will not be control resources. It will be here. So control team, control stakeholder, they don't use that word. It is because it is not good. You cannot. They call it as manage the team. You are managing team. Controlling the team is not good. It's not the thing. They are individuals. They are not machineries there. And that's what is this statement is saying. He's saying human resources are covered in terms of, sorry, what happened? Human resource is managed team. It is not in control. All this expenditure and all that. This is very common. Plan, work performance, data, doing analysis, alternative. Should I go ahead and outsource it? Should I give training to the people? Should I use fresher and train them? Or should I take skilled people? All those alternatives. When you do control, which means planned versus actual, and when you don't have a good results, obviously you need to look for alternatives. Using automation in place of cost benefit, which option is costly, which one will be suitable here. Problem solving, same things, identify, define the problem, investigate. Same things are shown here. You have seen it. Interpersonal team skills, negotiations, essential part of project manager's life while managing the resources. Sometimes, you have already requested for 60 days. You made the phone call and said that I am going to increase by more. So 75 days. 15 din wala extension is already given by the functional manager to you. And then on the 70th day, you realize that no, or 15 din lagega. Now, extending this to 90, not very easy. You'll have to do negotiation with that manager. You'll have to do influencing so that you don't. Yeah, that's it. So that was, in short, this resource as a chapter, very important one, which is taking care of the, resources. You get some good questions on the people part of it. If time permits on the next Saturday, I'm not too sure. Maybe we'll have to go on to that reserve day we'll have to use for 2 hours, maybe. I'm not sure. So that's what is, this particular thing for the day. Any questions before we close for the day? As you know, closing on fairly on time is a good idea. Okay, if there are no questions, I will stop recording.